Let's just jump right into it. 1. If God knows everything we will do in the future, then we don't have free will, but we do. Answer: I wish believers would stop saying that God knows the future, thus causing this contradiction. Time does not exist. It's simply a way of describing events. Therefore, the future does not exist, and therefore God cannot know the future. 2. If God doesn't know everything we will do in the future, he's not really omniscient. Answer: 2 points. Christian scripture never says that God is omniscient. That's a false assumption. Secondly, since the future does not exist, that's not really lack of knowledge on God's part, since knowing about the non-existent would be nonsensical. 3. God could not stop a murder when there were only 4 people on earth. Answer: God simply chooses not to stop it since he values our free will above other things. 4. If we're supposed to be God's special creatures, then the universe is a lot of wasted space. Answer: I'm a believer that denies that humans are uniquely special, and I embrace panpsychism, that the entire universe has consciousness. And completely empty space does not exist anywhere, and only 5% of the universe is visible. It also contains the Higgs field, quark and gluon fields, dark energy and matter, cosmic rays, gamma rays, X-rays, radio waves, etc. And along with these things, galaxies and light beams also travel everywhere through space. So the entire known universe is actually being used. 5. Myths of a great flood and virgin birth were around long before Jesus. Maybe those are just elements of an interesting story. Answer: believing in a universal flood is not necessarily needed for being a Christian. And most legendary characters did not have a virgin birth. Those who supposedly did were nowhere near as substantiated as the accounts of Jesus. 6. Virgins cannot get pregnant. Not without modern medicine anyway. Answer: that's simply your refusal to believe in anything supernatural or any miracles. 7. Michelle Bachmann and Sarah Palin, Christian. Barney Frank, not a Christian. Answer: if believers fully obeyed Christian scripture, which forbids allowing women to be an authority over men, we would not have these objectionable women in office. 8. God seems to agree with you about everything. What a coincidence. And God seems to agree with all those Christians who disagree with you. Answer: no, I gave up numerous positions and submitted to Christ's revelation. And contradictory views do not invalidate the fact that Christ only founded one type of Christianity. 9. If you ever wrote a book with that many contradictions, your publishers would have to pull it from the shelves. Answer: 2 points. The argument that God wrote a book is on a different planet from simply defending God's existence. Secondly, the contradictions are contained in the Jewish Bible or so-called Old Testament non-Christian scripture. 10. If God made us in his image, why do we have vestigial body parts and organs that fail? Answer: the idea that we have numerous vestigial body parts has been disproved, and organs fail because the wages of sin is death. Romans 6:23. And we have all sinned. 11. 99.9% of all species God ever supposedly created are extinct. How many do-overs does God need? Answer: besides the doubtful percentage having never been verified, none of the species was a do-over. They were all special in their own way. Species went extinct through man's poaching and natural disasters. 12. God does not exist because I said so. Don't like that reason? That's the same reason lots of parents and pastors give children to convince them God exists. Answer: parents tell children to eat nutritious food because I said so. Teachers tell children to do their schoolwork because I said so. I reject that now because I'm an adult, not a child. Children must be simply told what to do since they do not understand complicated reasoning. 13. The Holocaust. Answer: the majority of supposed events in the so-called Holocaust were lies created by Jews to demonize Gentile whites and Christians. Holo hoax. 14. The proof people give for why God exists is often based on their personal experiences and feelings only. Answer: the ignorance of the masses does not invalidate the truth of what they believe, as the failure of most people to give a scientific answer why Earth is round does not make it flat. 15. Too many of God's followers using Bible verses to support their beliefs made life worse for others. Answer: To my scientific minds, inventing and incorporating addictive drugs, bombs, and poisons destroyed so many lives. And atheists in China and Russia committed mass genocide. So there. 16. No matter what Ray Comfort says, God did not create bananas to look like this. And he held up a common banana. They evolved this way without God's help. Answer: though modern bananas were not created as is, they did not evolve by themselves. They were intelligently designed by humans. And science still cannot explain how the original banana came about. 17. Every time science and religion go head-to-head, science wins. Answer: wins what? We all get old and die no matter what. And removing religion creates hopelessness. Besides, the founding fathers of science were devoutly religious. 18. You do not need God to be a good person. Just cut out the middleman. Answer: nobody is truly a good person. We all tend to be selfish. But a lifetime of experience has shown me that devout Christians are noticeably nicer than non-believers on average. 19. People have been saying Jesus is coming back during their lifetime for many, many lifetimes. He's not coming back. Time to move on. Answer: Christian scripture has clearly stated for the last 2,000 years that nobody knows when Jesus will return. Our scripture is the authority, not people who don't bother to read scripture or twist it. 20. God works in mysterious ways is typically a euphemism for stop asking hard questions. Answer: because something is typically a certain way does not mean it's always that way. You should be smart enough to figure that out. 21. Between tornadoes in Oklahoma, droughts in Texas, and hurricanes in Alabama, there sure are a lot of natural disasters in the places God supposedly loves. Answer: undoubtedly, you're confusing cause and effect. Instead of these regions originally having more Christians, then suffering more natural disasters, they had more disasters to begin with, which puts the fear of God into people, so they ended up with more believers. 22. You were made in God's image. Except for your foreskin, apparently you need to cut that off. Answer: everyone knows that some body parts can serve a purpose, but then be no longer needed, such as baby teeth and umbilical cords. So that's a stupid thing to say.